live. I know there's always a little delay, so I'm not going to say anything too important in the beginning, just on the off chance that, takes a little while for things to actually start recording and everything. So I see that there's already a couple people here and there's already a few comments. So what I'm going to do is kind of something similar as I did last time. I did a live, which is basically, just kind of do an update because today's the 14-month Cancerversary, as I like to call it. So I want to give you guys a little update, kind of celebrate, which sounds weird to say. It's like, hey, I'm celebrating I have cancer. No, it's more like celebrating the fact that I'm still alive 14 months later, given the diagnosis I was given and everything. So I like to kind of take the time to celebrate that and also use this opportunity to just update everyone on what's been going on. I know things are slightly different now than last time I did a live because I'm just not able to respond to comments like I was able to before. And, the last 3 months have been pretty intense. And yeah, so it's just things change, things evolve. It's part of life. So I'm just gonna, do a quick normal video where I speak to the camera, at the end of which I'm gonna go ahead and go through all the comments and respond to the comments and respond to the questions you may have. And this is kind of going to be the plan for the future. So since I just don't have the energy right now and I don't know when I will again or if I will again, um, for now, I'm not going to be able to respond to comments, at least not on a regular basis. So I think I'm going to try to do one of these every month, probably on the 8th, just to kind of do this as a routine thing. That way you always know on the 8th of the month, there's always going to be live, unless, I'm in the hospital or something extreme like that. But, fingers crossed, everything's going to be fine. So I'm going to try to do this on the 8th every single month. That way, if you have any questions, any comments, anything you want me to know or share or whatever, at least we get this opportunity because I really enjoyed responding to comments and everything, and I miss it. It's just right now I don't have the energy to do that. So okay, let's officially get into it. So it's been exactly 14 months since I was diagnosed. And just a little summary for anyone who may be new because the channel keeps growing and there might be a few new people here. So I just want to say diagnosis I was given is super rare form of cancer. In fact, I did the math. I was curious. My chances of getting it are 1 in 7.4 million. So basically, I won the cancer lottery. And of course, there is no cure. There's only one treatment, which is immunotherapy, which I've been doing for the past 14 months. There's been a few gaps where I had to stop because of other issues that I had and medication I had to take, and that was interfering with immunotherapy. But I've been doing it mostly consistently for 14 months. And, a few other more stats that I could give you, but I don't want to repeat it for the people who've been here for a while and know the story. So basically, very, very bad odds, very crappy situation. But, I'm very positive, optimistic, and most of all, stubborn. So I'm like, yeah, there's no way this is going to kill me. I'm going to do everything that I can to survive. And so far, I've succeeded. Like I've mentioned multiple times in the last videos, the last 3 months have been very, very intense. In fact, of the 14 months I've been going through this, they have been the most intense. And that includes having to, work last year while I was coughing, while I was having all these issues. It wasn't as bad back then, which is why the last 3 months have been more intense. And that's the thing, it's like because the last 3 months have been so intense, I hate to admit it, but I am less positive than I used to be. I am less optimistic. I still am more than, a lot of people. I'm not trying to brag or anything. It's just, my friend once described me as annoyingly optimistic, or was it annoyingly positive? I forget which one it was. Either way, I took it as a compliment and I bring it up every once in a while. So all that to say, yes, I'm still positive. Yes, I'm still optimistic. Yes, I still believe I will be the first person with stage 4 of this to, to survive, to get cured, to go back to a normal life. But, the day to day, for a while, when I had that shift in perspective and I just started seeing the world in a new way, I was just happy all the time. I was smiling all the time. I'd go outside and literally I'd be walking around with a huge smile on my face to the point where people would stare at me. And even though they didn't say anything, I knew what they were thinking. They were like, why is this guy so happy? Like, I'm no longer in that state, unfortunately, because, when you go through something intense and it just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going, you never get that break. It just becomes very difficult to remain in that state of gratefulness and that state of happiness. So I'm still happy. I'm still optimistic, positive. It's just the last few months have been really intense. So I am still very grateful, to be alive, very grateful for everything I'm going through because I do believe I manifested this. I am grateful for, my YouTube family, everyone who watches and comments and, subscribes and supports me and people who have donated and things like that. Like I'm very, very grateful for everything and everyone that I have in my life. It's just, day to day, it has been very difficult. And it is slowly, very, very slowly getting better. But it's just, yeah, it's been intense. And I'm not used to, experiencing something so intense for such an extended period of time. I'm more the let's do an extreme challenge for a short period of time kind of person, not the let's do this for months and years and, God knows how long. So it's just a new experience for me, and I'm kind of struggling at the moment. There are good days, there are bad days. Overall, like, just an update health wise. Yes, I am still coughing. Yes, I still have issues breathing. I still have trouble sleeping at night. I wake up multiple times throughout the night. Sometimes I wake up and I'm sore. There's still the hunger issue, so I'm basically never hungry or very, very little. I need to force myself to eat. My body can't handle that much. So, that's why I lost a bunch of weight in the last couple months and why it's difficult for me to gain it back. I think at this point, I'm able to eat enough that I've either halted the weight loss or at least slowed it down drastically. So, as I mentioned, things are slowly getting better, but it's just, it's a lot of things to deal with on a consistent basis, and some things get better, something gets worse, and it's just, part of life. So maybe not the most positive update that I've done so far, but that's the whole point of this, of living out loud, living the experience, sharing the experience, and that's just what I'm going through now. So hopefully it's going to continue getting better. What I'm really looking forward to the most amazing thing that could happen is if the breathing issues went away, because that's the worst. Like just going for a walk, like a simple, very slow walk, like even just going to the corner of the street and coming back, like I'm tired by the time I get back. Walking up a single flight of stairs, I get to the top of the stairs and I'm winded. It just sucks. It always feels like I'm always slightly out of breath, like I can never fully catch my breath. And, I know what this is like. I had asthma when I was young and I've been dealing with this for a while. So I'm kind of familiar with it, but it's still not fun. And after like, over 3 months at this point of constantly going through that, it's become exhausting. So all right, that was the kind of slightly depressing update and summary, but I just want to end with once again, I'm just very grateful for everything and everyone that I have in my life. So thank you for everyone who, watches and comments and is here today watching live, or if you're watching the replay. I know there's people from all across the world who watch, and it kind of amazes me because to me, I'm not a very big content consumer. So it's like I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook or TikTok or YouTube or any of those things. So to me, it just like I wouldn't watch myself. Honestly, 100% honesty, I would not watch myself because that's not my form of entertainment. It's like I want to either live something or I'm going to watch a movie, watch a series if I want to relax, something like that. It's weird to say, but it's just I'm definitely not my target audience, which is kind of strange. So anyway, I'm glad that I'm able to connect, maybe inspire, motivate some people, connect other people together, provide a place where you can share your story of your loved ones. So I'm really grateful that I'm able to do that. And it's very nice to be able to share. So all right, now let's start going to the comments. Let me just go back to the top. and kind of go through it. So this might be a little boring in the beginning as I start reading the comments, but we'll get in the flow of things and should be pretty good soon. All right. Thank you very much, Sue. That's very kind of you to say. Ooh, from Spain. Nice. Yeah, I am doing relatively good today. A little more coughing than I would have hoped for this morning. Little like there was one episode where I had more trouble breathing and I really had to like take a break and slow it down. But overall, it's been a pretty good day so far. So okay, question. Have you considered getting O2 at home to help you with your shortness of breath and trouble sleeping? Um, yes, it's something I've considered. It's something I'm probably going to discuss at some point with my palliative care. I mean, I don't have an official like doctor. It's more like, the team is handling my case. So if I have any questions or concerns or anything, I can reach out to them and they're going to be able to answer my questions. It's just so far the breathing, it's like it's just a result of the growth of the tumors. And then since we did radiotherapy, it's just a question of time to wait for things to go back to normal. And I'm already taking a bunch of medications that also plays a role in it. So it's like I try to avoid in general adding more and more stuff because then it's just something else I need to get rid of. Not that I think you really get addicted to O2 or anything like that. But yeah, it is something I've considered. It's just something I haven't really looked into that much, especially given, you know, the fact that, sorry, given the fact that, lately there's this whole potential anal cancer thing that hopefully is hemorrhoids or something else less serious, but it's just like that is my main priority at the moment. I have my meeting with my doctor, my oncologist next week, so we're going to go over that, discuss that. And once we do what we need to do to determine what that is, then I'm going to go ahead and focus on other stuff. But right now, that's really my main focus. All right, from the UK. Ooh, from Montreal. Nice. I guess I'm not the only one. Hello, bunch of hellos and highs. So hello and hi to everyone. First time attending my lives. Well, to be fair, it is the second one, so you haven't missed that much. uh, yeah, I am feeling better today. Thank you. I look great today. Thanks. I appreciate it. I probably don't quite feel as good as I look because sometimes like I watch my videos just to kind of get an impression of how I come across and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I seem to be doing better in the videos, but I know how I feel inside, and I know that I look better than I feel. I'm still doing much better overall, and I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, I may not. 7 p.m. in England, 8 p.m. somewhere else. Not quite sure where that is. Well, thank you. Apparently someone admires me so much. I appreciate it. Honestly, not really sure why, but I'll take it. Compliment's a compliment. How am I eating and sleeping? I think I pretty much already covered that. So, still barely any appetite. I'm able to kind of force myself to eat sufficiently that I have my strength throughout the day. And I'm hopefully not losing too much weight, maybe even halted it completely. As for the sleeping, it varies from night to night. I definitely do not get as much sleep as I would need. I'm always a little tired when I wake up. And it's just, yeah, like I said, it really varies from one night to the other. But overall, it's been worse, it's been better. So it's kind of so-so, I guess. Am I in Welland? Not quite, no, sorry, asking that to someone. I'm like, not sure what that is, but nope. uh, my wife is doing well. Obviously, just like for me, it is very difficult for her, the distance, and we're doing everything that we can to be together. And it can sometimes be frustrating and annoying and difficult. And, sometimes I feel bad and kind of guilty because, like, I know it's very difficult for her. Obviously, it's difficult for me too, but I do have, like, all the cancer stuff and the symptoms and everything to kind of distract myself, which is not exactly something pleasant, but it is a source of distraction. And I know, like, she's so far away and she worries about me and everything. So I'm not going to say that it's easy or fun or pleasant for either of us, but I am very proud of her for how she's handling it. And I am very, very much looking forward to being with her. We just have no way of knowing how long exactly that's going to take. But that's immigration, that's life. You can just do what you can and hope for the best. And whenever things are meant to happen, they're going to happen. So, thank you for asking. Oh, you like the top? Well, thank you. It's actually my wife that got it for me. First time I wore it, I believe, was when I made that video in Nicaragua after we got married. We were at the beach, and at that time during that period, because I was there for 3.5 weeks, so I think I made like two videos during that time. And at the time, the channel was still very, very small. It wasn't monetized. There weren't that many people watching, and it was a pretty intense period too. So yeah, I remember like that video of wearing this shirt for the first time in a video. So I'm glad you like it. And it also reminds me of my wife, of course. Oh, I have a lovely smile. Thank you. You love it when I miss the button. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, cool. Italy too. So far we have Canada, we have the UK, we have Italy, we have, well, I'm pretty sure the US, no one has mentioned it, but I know like most of the viewership is from the US. So it's definitely nice to see people from all over the world. Okay, so in regards to eating, you mentioned in one video you were hungry at night but did not eat. Oh, that happened like once. Like being hungry is not really an issue. It's more not being hungry that's an issue. So yeah, it's definitely a struggle on that front. Uh, I guess I could take sleeping pills. As I mentioned, I don't like taking pills in general. I don't like resorting to outside things to try to solve problems. It's like, that's my whole approach for the cancer in general. It's like I don't want to just treat the cancer. I want to figure out what caused the cancer so I can fix that initial problem so that once we do heal the cancer, it's not going to come back. And that's kind of my approach with everything. It's like I want to solve the problem that is causing the symptoms, not just manage the symptoms. So that's been kind of my approach. Like if it gets too intense, like, I'll consider anything, and that's why I am taking different medications for different things, but I try to avoid it as much as I can unless it really becomes an issue. And so far, sleeping isn't too bad. It could definitely be better, but I am getting sufficient rest that I'm not completely exhausted all the time. I still have the strength for my body to fight this and everything, so it doesn't feel like a necessity at the moment. But if ever it gets to that, yeah, it's something I'll consider, of course. Okay, so someone suggests eating something small and easy at night. The thing is, I've noticed like pretty much any time past 4 p.m. when I eat, I most of the time end up throwing up. So I've just gotten used to eating as much as I can between the moment when I wake up and around 4 p.m. so I can get as much calories in my body as I can and avoid throwing up. I still throw up every once in a while. At this point, it hasn't been long enough to have an exact average, but I would say maybe a couple times per week. That would pretty much be the average. So it's not often enough to be concerned. I've discussed it with my doctors, and there's not much we can do anyway. So it's just always balancing how can I eat enough without my body, rejecting it and then basically throwing up and wasting all that food that I ingested and force myself to eat even though I wasn't hungry. So it's always a balancing act trying to figure out what the best option is. Ooh, South Africa. Nice. Welcome. From Toronto also. Nice. Another from South Africa, or is it the same person? Nope, two people from South Africa. Nice. Someone said if you need to get out and about, I can sell you my mother-in-law's broomstick. I appreciate the offer. Not sure she'd appreciate it, but I thought it was. Okay. For some reason, the live just restarted, so I'm not sure what happened. Hopefully, everyone is still here. Hopefully, everyone can hear me and everything is fine. Not quite sure what happened there, but we seem to be live, so I'll just keep going and assume everything's fine. Am I a reader? Yes and no. Obviously, as a storyteller, as an author, I've read a lot of books throughout my life. But for the last few years, pretty much ever since I started traveling about 2 years ago, and then came back and then had the whole, cancer thing, that's been my main focus right now. So I don't really read that much. I did buy a book in Spanish and I've been slowly reading it. It's just reading in a language that you're not very comfortable in yet can be very exhausting, and I'm already struggling to not exhaust myself too much. So reading definitely hasn't been a priority right now. I do love reading though. I've read probably over 1,000 books in my life so far, maybe more. I don't know. So yeah, I definitely am a reader. But at the moment and for the last couple of years, I haven't really read that much. So I guess I used to be a reader. There we go. Someone from the USA officially. Uh, well, someone loves the crinkle between my eyebrows when I frown, so I guess I'll try not to frown. But if I do, at least someone will appreciate it. Do I have any visitors during the day? Not really, simply because just thinking of coughing. So I was about to say something about coughing. Just thinking about coughing makes me cough. So that's the problem. When I'm just speaking like this, when I record a video, for some reason, I don't cough that much. I don't have that many breathing issues, but having a conversation where I stop, where I start, where I stop, where I start, for some reason, that makes me cough much more and sometimes causes me to have breathing issues. So for the last month, maybe a little more, like I've been avoiding, having too many things, too many activities, like going out, seeing friends, things like that, even if it's in my apartment just sitting on the couch talking, like that is difficult for me, which sounds weird seeing how I've been talking for what, like almost in half an hour now, I think. So it's like I wish that I could, and that's one of the issues that I kind of run into on the everyday basis is I don't really have any sources of distraction because I can't really go out for walks. I can't really hang out with friends because it causes me to cough more. So all I can really do is pretty much sit on the couch and watch TV and then go to sleep. So it's like my life is pretty much, well, it's pretty boring at the moment, honestly. And unfortunately, there's not much that I can do about it. So, you just gotta do what you gotta do, make with what you have, and hope that things will eventually get better. And that's what I've been doing for the last couple weeks, couple months. So definitely not ideal, but it's life. Uh, that's nice. Someone says they enjoy listening to my videos and that I help their day. So glad I can be of service. Someone's asking if there's anyone there who can help me. Help me in what way? And that's the thing. It's like, my dad has offered, my sister has offered to come and stay with me for a while and stuff like that if I need help. The thing is, it's because of that issue of like, it's difficult for me to have conversations, especially when it's longer than just a few minutes. So it's like if I had someone staying with me for a couple of days, a week, something like that, I feel like it would just make things more difficult. Plus, I do just have one bed, and like I don't necessarily want to force my family or friends to like sleep on the couch. It's kind of crappy. So it's like I've kind of avoided that. So yes, there are people that can help me if it comes to that, if I really need it. That's not an issue. I'm very well surrounded. I'm very lucky on that front. I've just chosen not to do it for now because it feels like it might make things more difficult. Nope, not really friends with anyone in the building. It's a relatively small building, and so far I've just seen them in passing, like, kind of just saying like, "Oh, hello, how you doing? Nice day," stuff like that. So, not really close to any of them. When is my wife going to be arriving? That's the million-dollar question. Unfortunately, I do not have an answer. I wish I did. I really, really do. but I don't. I don't know. Someone's asking if my wife is here in the live audience as well. I do not know. There's a 2 hour difference between us, and I'm not sure exactly what her day is like. We did speak earlier today, but she's been tired because she's used to, like, taking over there. It's very common to like take naps during the day because it's very hot and stuff like that. So a lot of the times they like take a break in the afternoon, take a little nap. But she recently, started selling, like cooking food and stuff like that and selling it. And as a result of that, she can't take naps during the day, so she's more tired. So she wanted to, like, take a little break and just be able to relax a bit. So honestly, I don't know if she's here. But I mean, even if she's not, I that is totally fine. Like, I would probably do it out of a sense of obligation because she's my wife and everything, but it's like I do not take it personally whatsoever if she's not watching. Like, I know she watches all my videos, which I really appreciate and grateful for, but at the same time, it's like I tell her everything. So it's like there's nothing new that she's gonna learn in the videos. So from my perspective, it's like I would never be offended if she didn't watch, if she didn't like, even if she never watched any of my videos, I wouldn't care. It's about the relationship. It's about the fact that we're together, that we love each other, that we share everything. So it's like, YouTube is just a way for me to share my experience, to share my story. So I would not take it personally whatsoever. But to answer your question, I don't know if she's here right now. If so, she hasn't commented yet. Have I gotten better in the last 2 weeks? Yes and no. That's pretty much always my answer to everything, because whenever something gets better, something else gets worse. So it's always like overall things are slowly, progressively getting better, but it's just so slow that it's very hard for me to notice it. Like, if I think back to like 2 weeks ago or a month ago or 2 months ago, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm doing better than I was. But from day to day, because it is so slow, it's just very hard to judge and keep track of. So it's like some days are better, some days are worse. So I think I've been doing better slowly in the last 2 weeks, but there's periods that are worse. So overall, I would say yes, slightly. What do you think of alternative therapies like fen bendazola? I've never learned how to pronounce it, so sorry if I mispronounce it. That's the thing. Since I started this, I've had so many suggestions from so many different people. In the beginning, my approach was I'm going to do everything I can, leave absolutely no stone unturned. And then I realized there's so many different options, and a lot of them are kind of contradictive, working against each other. Just, random examples. Some people are like, you need to eat only vegetables, be fully vegetarian. Other people are like, you need to do the carnivore diet, like as an example. So it's like complete opposite. So obviously I can't do both of them. And there's a lot of instances like this when it comes to alternative therapies. So it's like you can't do everything. So at the end of the day, you just need to do whatever feels right to you. And that's what I've been doing. So I've been, trying to judge what's right, what's not right. I know that the power of the mind, the power of belief is one of the most important things. That's been one of the biggest focuses, especially this year. But it always changes, it always varies, like from time to time. So I always try to listen to myself, to what it says inside, and do whatever feels right to me. And that's the thing. It's like that's why I don't talk as much about cancer and the things I'm doing and everything, simply because I know that every situation is different, every person is different, and every person is going to have a different solution that is right for them, that is not necessarily right for other people. So my goal is not to try to, convince anyone this is the right way to do it. I'm just sharing the experience of what I'm doing and what is working or is not working for me, and what it feels like to go through everything. So yes, I do 100% believe in alternative therapies. It's just I don't think there is one solution that works necessarily for everyone. Ooh, from Greece too. Nice. I have tried melatonin in the past, and it seems to have no effect on me. So magnesium helps with sleep too. Yep, I definitely heard that. Uh, Little piece of cheese. There's something that makes you sleep, works all the time for me. Okay. Haven't tried the cheese, but I am curious. I might give that a try. Uh, Healthy smoothies. I have mixed feelings about smoothies because the diet that I was doing in the beginning, there was a lot of smoothies and, um, juicing and things like that. And it's like, yes, there are good things in that, but it's just like in that period, I was really kind of like now, like I didn't have any appetite and everything. And I just, that sensation of having to force yourself to drink a smoothie when you don't enjoy it, when you're not hungry, it's just like, I don't enjoy that. I prefer eating solid food. It's like at least you taste the flavor even though like I don't necessarily enjoy it as much as I normally would, and I still have to force myself to eat it, at least I kind of get to enjoy that, especially fruits and vegetables. Like those flavors are much more intense. So that's why I choose to eat like, whole food or not necessarily whole foods, but it's like fresh stuff as opposed to blending everything in a smoothie or in a juice or something like that. Ooh, Australia too. Nice. Wow, I wonder what time it is over there. All right. So can I ask the doctor to prescribe nutritional drinks? I'm assuming that's nutritional drinks. So your brother had terminal cancer and drank them often. What do you mean exactly by nutritional drinks? Are you talking about like Ensure and Boost and stuff like that? Because if so, like if you're talking about like protein drinks, I've tried them and they've made me throw up. Same thing with protein bars. So that's definitely not an option. If it's something different, then maybe if you could elaborate, I'll be able to kind of better address that. South Africa, once again, it seems there's a lot of people from South Africa. Melatonin, yeah, once again, for some reason it doesn't work for me. Ooh, someone speaking French. Ah, Justin, nice. I say nice because my father's name is Justin, so Justin, very similar. From Hawaii, nice. Wonder how many French-speaking people there are in Hawaii. Or maybe bonjour is all that you know, I don't know. Yes, I do live in an apartment with a cactus and an aloe plant with a baby. I don't know why. Every once in a while, I just like showing my plants for some reason. I like to be random. Ooh, from Germany. Nice. Ah, from Nicaragua. Nice. Not my wife, but there is someone from Nicaragua. I never know if I should pronounce it in Spanish or in English, and I vary between the two. So, well, there's someone watching from Nicaragua. So at least there's that. uh, How long more to have treatment? So I'm not sure what you're asking exactly, if it's when my next treatment is or how long between treatments. Okay. I don't know if you heard that. Someone just, rev their motor in front of the apartment while they're driving by. So to answer your question, or whichever one it is, the next treatment is going to be next week, so on Wednesday. And there's 3 weeks between every treatment. And other treatments that I've gotten, such as radiotherapy and things like that, well, that's just temporary whenever issues rise up, and that's something that is necessary. But when it comes to immunotherapy, it's every 3 weeks. Do I prefer speaking English or French? Like I have no preference. I was raised speaking both, so I'm comfortable with both. It really varies on who I'm with. Like my best friend, he's more English than French, so I speak to him in English. Other friends, it's in French. My family, it's in French. Mostly online, everything's pretty much in English. And when it comes to my wife and her family, obviously everything's in Spanish. So, and I'm still not 100% comfortable in Spanish, so that's always kind of a struggle for me. But when it comes to English and French, I don't really have a preference. I just do most things in English simply because most things that I do, like, for the YouTube channels, for my books, things like that, everything's online, everything's in English. It just makes more sense. So that's kind of, for me, whenever it comes to technology or to internet or anything to do with that, everything's automatically in English. The rest, it just depends on the the person I'm speaking to and the language they're most comfortable with. Like I have a friend who speaks English, French, and Spanish, so it's like I could speak to her in either of those three languages. We just speak French because that's how we started off, and we just kept going that way. So yeah, it just varies. Someone else from Germany, nice. Where's my wife from? Nicaragua. I think that was the same person who was from Nicaragua before. So from your country. uh, sorry. Oof, that sounds intense. That sounds intense. Someone says um, they have COVID and they don't have cancer, but it's like they can barely breathe. Wow, 21 COVID pneumonia. Oof, that definitely sounds intense. So yeah, what it's like to have trouble breathing. Sorry that you have to go through that. I, obviously know that it sucks having breathing issues. So someone else from the UK. I keep long pressing by accident when I'm trying to scroll up and a message pops up. So someone else from the UK. At the end of all right. So someone says that in the end, it's not the cancer that gets you; it's infections. Very possible. I'm definitely not an expert when it comes to cancer. I'm an expert when it comes to being stubborn and not dying. uh, yes, coughing can be very intense at times. That's the thing. It's like the normal everyday coughing of just like there's always kind of like that sensation of wanting to cough in the back of my throat. And when I'm speaking like this, I'm able to ignore it, but that sensation is always there. And it's more like like this type of coughing. But there are times where it's just like you start coughing and it's just like coughing and coughing and coughing. And there have been times where it's like I cough so much that I'm out of breath. I cough so much that I end up throwing up. It's like, yeah, coughing can definitely be intense. Luckily, lately it's been mostly the, everyday like kind of coughing. So on that front, I guess I'm kind of lucky. Yes, I'm currently living on my own, waiting for my wife to join me. So fingers crossed that it's going to happen quickly. Go-to combo for sleep is melatonin gummies. Gummies are fine, whatever dosage works for you. You can find that on your experiments. Then a Benadryl or two. Never tried Benadryl, but yeah, like I mentioned before, melatonin for some reason doesn't really work for me. Oh, and then third, Montelukast. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, apparently it's a prescription. Okay. This helps with oxygen, allergies, and asthma. Okay, good to know. No need to apologize. Like, sorry, just popping in. No need to apologize whatsoever. Oh yeah, the Olympics. That's not a problem. Go enjoy the Olympics. I'm not sure which country you're from, but hopefully your country wins. Have they taught about TPN? I'm not sure what TPN is. So if they did, they didn't teach me about the acronym. uh, so sleepy time tea is another suggestion. That's the thing. Tea doesn't really seem to relax me that much. Like, yes, I've taken it in the past. I've tried a bunch of different things, and it can help. I just didn't. I've never found that drinking tea in the evening relax me. So I don't know. I guess it's kind of like the melatonin. It works for some people, it doesn't for other people. So appreciate the suggestion. I mean, unless it's a very unique, very kind of very special kind of tea, I yeah, I've tried it in the past. Honey and lemon juice. Yep, that's definitely good for the throat. But once again, for sleeping, haven't really noticed much of a difference for that. I keep doing the long press. I need to be careful when scrolling. All right, I can't touch too long. There's an organic formula from Garden of Life. Everything is organic, full of vitamins. I have a total food intolerance, and I can tolerate this meal. Okay, good to know. Thank you. Cute plan. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it. Out of curiosity, Were you referring to the cactus or the aloe or both? Ah, you look forward to my videos. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yep, true. They're not many of okay, so the Hawaii. Okay, that was regarding the Hawaii comment. Yeah, okay. So you are originally from Montreal, so in Québécois, nice. Or I'm assuming Québécois because of the name Mom. So, uh, wow, there for 32 years, nice. Definitely seems like a good place to kind of go. I don't know if you went there to retire or whatever, but definitely seems like a nice place. Ooh, going through cancer yourself. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully things are going relatively well for you. And I say relatively because it's rare that they can go very well when you have cancer. Have worldwide appeal. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Uh, Zypalone will get you to sleep in 10 minutes. Never heard of it, but thank you for the suggestion. I'll check that out. Someone suggested getting a bottle to pee in the night rather than going to the bathroom. It's just the reason why I laugh is because my uncle has had I don't know if it's prostate issues or whatever, but it's like he's basically been like he pretty much keeps like a yogurt container next to his bed and just pees in that during the night whenever he has to go rather than going to the bathroom. So it's just it reminded me of that and I thought it was funny. I don't know. To me, it's not really the fact of getting up and going to the bathroom and having to go back. Like that's not really a big deal. It's just the waking up multiple times throughout the night that's frustrating, but that I can't control. So it's not really the going to the bathroom that's the issue in that situation. What's the name of the immunotherapy drug? So it's called atezolizumab. Not quite sure the English pronunciation because it's I always heard it pronounced in French. Plus, I just memorized it because it's the drug that I'm taking. They're pumping it in my system. So I'm like, yeah, it seems only right to know the name. Plus, if ever for some reason I need to know it, seems like important information. But yeah, I never heard about it before. I know there's a few different type of immunotherapy drugs. So um, I don't know how many though. I haven't looked into it that much. I know immunotherapy in and of itself is relatively new. So I'm not quite sure how many of them there are. I just feel like a lot of them are not covered by insurance, like the one that I'm taking, which is why the doctor had to make a deal with the hospital, so it'd be covered by the hospital. So I obviously got lucky on that front, but I don't know about the other medications if it's the same thing. Um, I could do Hawaiian merch since I love Hawaiian shirts. Well, technically it's a Nicaraguan shirt, but I appreciate the suggestion. I don't know. It's like that's the thing. I doing merch seems weird to me. Like if it made sense, okay, but it's like I can't really think of anything that would make sense to be like, hey, if you want to support me, you can buy this. It's like could do t-shirts or whatever, but it's like I don't know, it feels weird to me. Plus, like the point of this is not to make money. It's like I appreciate it whenever someone donates, but the point is just to share the story to you know live out loud to be able to well also to record everything so that later on once all this is done I can kind of go back and re-experience everything that way I can go ahead and write the book and kind of be more in the emotion and remember the exact details. It's not about views, it's not about building an audience, it's not about the money, it's never been about that. It's always more about the storytelling, but I do appreciate the suggestion. Okay, so apparently someone like it scares someone that I take public transport. And that's the thing. It's like aside from that one time where I did, convulse on the subway, taking public transport is not really an issue. It's like, yes, okay, walking to get to it causes me to be tired, but I recover, it's fine. It's like there is walking, even if it makes me get out of breath, is not bad for my body. It's not damaging. It's just tiring. And now that I'm taking the medication to avoid the seizures, that's not really a concern anymore. So there is really no danger in me taking public transport. It's just obviously if I had a car, it'd be more direct. But at the same time, it's like having a car in a big city. It's like you always need to figure out where to park it. It's complicated. It can be frustrating. So in a way, public transport is actually easier. So I mean, there would be option like that person mentioned in the comment, like like eligible for like transport to the CLSC and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that might be an option. It's just doesn't really seem like that big a deal. So I just kind of take public transport because it's easy. Sorry to hear that. So someone's 47 diagnosed with kidney cancer. At least it's stage one. Could definitely be worse. So kind of got lucky on that front, even though cancer always sucks. Oh, you're over it. Okay, nice. Congratulations. Yes, that's the thing. A lot of the times, when people go through something intense like cancer or something like that, it changes their perspective. It just makes them so much more grateful for life and everything they have and everything they get to experience. And it did that to me for a while. But now, the last few months, because it has been so intense, I feel like it's having the reverse effect. It's making me less positive, less optimistic than I was before. But the thing is, I know it's just a phase. I don't want to try to force it, to try to force myself to be happy, try to force myself to be more positive than I am, and things like that. It's just, it's temporary. It's kind of like in a low, and eventually it's going to get back to a high, which is fine. It's part of life. But yeah, I do agree, like going through something this intense, it does change your perspective on life. And a lot of the times, like, I feel like most people who go through something like this are never the same after. Not always for the best, sometimes it's for the worst, but I feel like a lot of the times, a lot of people I've spoken to who have cancer or had cancer have had that shift in perspective in the way they see the world. And that is, a blessing in disguise. Oof, breast cancer twice. Sorry to hear that. But since it was written in past tense, I'm assuming both of them were okay. So that's good news, definitely. Bananas are sleeping aids. Oh, I didn't know that. Haven't tried banana. Okay, I'll give that a try. Thank you. Yeah, me too. I hope my wife comes very soon. It's okay. It's all part of the journey. Like it's not always it's not obviously it's not something I would choose to be far apart from my wife. But whenever you look back at events in your life, you realize like, oh, okay, this happened for that reason. So I know everything happens for a reason. I know there is a reason why it's taking this long for us to be together. I don't know what it is. I'm just trying to keep that in mind so it's not too difficult. It's just, that's all you can do. Okay, so TPN is feeding intravenous. Ah, okay, okay. Um, I mean, yeah, it could be an option. It's just a little more complicated when you're at home, you're not in the hospital. So it's like, yes, it could be an option with palliative care and everything. It's just since I am able to force myself to eat what seems to be enough to kind of maintain things for now, and hopefully it gets better with time. I don't feel like that's necessary, but it is something I did consider in the past and something that I might consider again in the future, depending on how things go. Ah, okay. Someone's asking me how to pronounce my name. So just so you know, it's French for William, and it's pronounced Guillaume. So the way I like to describe it to people so they remember it, it's ghee. So basically, that extract you get when you make butter, and then om like meditation. So basically, if you want to remember my name, just picture me meditating with a chunk of ghee on my head, and you'll know how to pronounce my name. Germany once again. All right, nice. Thank you for being here. Ah, okay. So the aloe was the one you meant. All right, nice. Oh, and she apologized for popping in because after I hit enter in my melatonin comment, you mentioned it didn't help. Oh, okay, okay. No worries, no worries. Oh, nice. Someone from Nouvelle-Écosse. It's a province in Canada, in case you were wondering. And yes, I did say it in French because they wrote it in French. Oh, okay, yeah. So this, I'm assuming, is the same person who made the bottle comment before. So they're like, yeah, I've been doing this for 3 years, peeing 3 to 7 times per night. So it's like, yeah, okay. If it's three, it's not so bad, but like I get if it's like 5, 7 times, it could be annoying having to get up to the bathroom every time. So yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense. For me, it's like having to get up to the bathroom, it's maybe like twice per night, sometimes three. So not that annoying. It's just the fact of waking up that can be sometimes frustrating, especially when you wake up and then you can't go back to sleep and you're just kind of like lying or sitting there for an hour just waiting to be tired enough to fall asleep. So yeah, part of life. Um, yes and no. Most people at hospitals, at least in Quebec, speak English and French. So with some doctors, I speak English. With some French, it really varies. Some of them I kind of like switch between English and French depending on the situation, or sometimes we just start in French and we speak in French, and then another time it's in English. So it really varies. It's just for some reason, whenever we're talking about the atezolizumab, the medication, like we always pronounce it in French for some reason. I don't know why. So I've just kind of learned to pronounce it in French. Kind of like Nicaragua. Even though I know in English I would pronounce it Nicaragua, I've just learned it in Spanish and that's how I pronounce it now. How did I handle COVID? Well, I never got COVID, so I didn't have to deal with that. But I'm assuming you mean like dealing with the whole situation and uh, I mean, I don't know what it was like in your country or which country you're in. I'm in Canada, obviously, in the province of Quebec. And here there were lockdowns. It's one of I forget if Ontario ended up doing it after a while, but in the beginning, we were the only province that had a lockdown, that had a curfew, where it's like past 8 p.m., you're not allowed to go outside. Unless you have a dog to walk, of course, which is why a lot of people adopted dogs and now they're stuck with them. But yeah, back then, like I didn't have cancer, so it wasn't really that much of an issue for me. I was living alone, so I just kind of did my own things, lived my own life, and it really wasn't that bad. And then after that, started 2022, then I was traveling. So once again, yes, there were slight issues, but in a lot of other countries, especially in Latin America, it wasn't as severe as in, let's say, Asia and places like that. So really wasn't that much of an issue for me. And I didn't know my wife, so that wasn't an issue either back then. Yeah, in comparison to cancer, COVID was pretty easy. Oh, so someone was on pembrolizumab, so very similar, I'm assuming. Um, went for 2 years every 3 weeks. Okay, so seems very similar. Yes, French. I mean, they say French is the language of love, which is good. Although Quebec French is not as romantic sounding as French from France. The accent is very different. um, but yes, it is very difficult. It's one of the more difficult. Well, not as difficult as Asian dialects. That's like, completely different. But when it comes to, like English and Spanish and languages like that, yes, it is one of the more difficult ones. More complicated for no reason whatsoever, just to make things more complicated. Yep. So yeah, cancer, even if it's just a cancer scare, is definitely not fun. Like sometimes, like for me at least, like not that I would wish that on everyone, but for me, like I remember that period between we found something, we don't know what it is, we did the biopsy, we're waiting for the results, and by the time I got an official diagnosis, there was a period of 3 weeks, and that period of not knowing was worse than knowing and being told you have stage 4 cancer, there is no cure. Because at that point, it's like, all right, at least I know. At least I can start planning and figure out what to do with this. So, yeah, sometimes like cancer scares, even if it ends up not being cancer, can be for that period where you don't know just as bad as being diagnosed. I completely understand. When are my next scans? I don't know. Like, I have a few scans planned in advance. I don't have an official one Like I know I have one in September. I may have one in August. I'm not quite sure. Usually it's every 3 months. But because I have so many different doctors, some doctors order them at some times and sometimes it's others. So it's like it's very hard to keep track. At this point, I don't even try to keep track. I just wait for them to call me and be like, hey, you have an appointment this date, this time, this place. I just put in my calendar and I get reminded a couple of days in advance. It's like, oh, okay, I have a meeting on that date. Cool. Okay, I'm going to go there. So it's like, I don't know exactly. I do know I have one in September. The rest have either not been planned yet or I just don't remember the date. What is my favorite TV series to binge? Good question. Once upon a time, my favorite series was Seinfeld, but I watched it so many times that every time I watched it, it got slightly not as much fun to watch. Yeah, and then there's another series that I also really loved, Third Rock from the Sun. Yes, I do love sitcoms. And that one, for some reason, every time I watch it, it seems to get better. I don't watch it that often, like it's not on any streaming services that I have access to, and I don't have a, DVD player or Blu-ray player or anything like that anymore, so I couldn't physically buy it at the moment. So I haven't seen it in a while, but I would say if I had to pick one favorite series, would probably be Third Rock from the Sun. Do I listen to music? Yes and no. I did mention this in one of the recent videos, but I'm just going to go over it again. I love music. Not every kind of music. There are a few types of music that I'm not really a fan of, but I do, enjoy most types of music. I would say my favorite would be classical music, like, classical like Mozart, Beethoven, Chopin, stuff like that. Um, or piano remix or like covers of pop songs and stuff like that. I also really enjoy those. But I don't really listen to music that much in everyday life. It's more like when I need to experience something. I'm going to listen to music, and one specific song is going to speak to me, make me feel something that I need to experience, and I'm going to listen to that song on repeat, sometimes for multiple days in a row. So, yes, I do listen to music. Yes, I do enjoy it, but I don't listen to it that often. Um, oh yeah, hopefully I still document my days on YouTube after I beat cancer. Absolutely. That is why a while back I made a video explaining this is not a cancer channel, it's a storytelling channel. It's just that at the moment I have cancer that is the biggest focus in my life. So most of the stories that I share is about that. But I'm not building a cancer channel. I'm building a storytelling channel. I'm living my life out loud, and I will 100% continue to do that after this is all over. However, I don't know how many people will stay because I know some people are just here about the cancer because, either they're going through something similar or they went through something similar, they know someone going through that. So I know some people definitely will not be interested once this is all over, but from my perspective, this is not a cancer channel, it's just a storytelling channel. Do I like reading? Yes, I already answered that before, so I won't bore you with the same answer again. Um, Sorry, that's a long comment. It's taking me a while to read. Yeah, that's the thing. Anything that's extreme in your life, whether it's an illness or something else, it just, one, as I was mentioning before, it makes you grateful for life in general, for everything that you have. And it just reminds you, you never know what's going to happen. Like, I could fight this for years and, keep fighting and eventually beat it and everything's wonderful. And then I step out of my apartment, get hit by a car and die. It's like, you never know what's going to happen. And that's the beauty of going through intense things like that. It reminds you of that. It reminds you death can come at any moment. And it's just important to appreciate every moment that you have. Hello. Someone said hi. Ooh, yeah, supernatural. That was a good show. I seen a few episodes of House with my friend, but I never like bothered to sit down and watch all of it. So I did enjoy it, but I just never really took the time to watch it. There's just so many shows out there. At some point, it's impossible to watch all of them. So you just listen to whatever feels right at the moment. Uh, so okay, someone says they just came. Would like to know how I'm feeling now. Yes, I did answer it. So you can go ahead and watch the replay in the beginning. I kind of covered that. But quick answer is I'm doing better. Things are slowly, very, very slowly getting better. So there are, more difficult days than others, but overall, things seem to be heading in the right direction. Ah, thank you. Someone loves my storytelling. That's always nice to hear. Oh, yeah, someone first time being on my lives. Well, it is only my second live, so that's understandable. I am gonna try to do them more often, so I'm thinking probably once per month. Maybe every once in a while, just do random lives, just whenever it feels right. So we'll see. What is your work? Well, at the moment, I'm currently on disability, so technically my work is to not die. But the work that I was doing before is basically the most hated work, or one of the most hated work, which is basically cold calling people and trying to sell them things that they do not want. So basically, I worked for an online company, an online marketing company, and I would reach out to, entrepreneurs, business owners, things like that, and try to sell them our services. And, sometimes succeed, of course. So it is like I've always loved the sales psychology aspect of the selling. Selling itself is not very fun. It is very frustrating. There's a lot of rejection that comes with it. And you need to be at the right company at the right time with the right offer and have the right skill sets to be able to make a living at this because there's a lot of turnover in this industry. So it's definitely not for everyone and it is stressful. So, when you have cancer, when you are literally fighting for your life, it's not the best time to have a stressful job, which is why I ended up going on disability. But I did love the sales psychology aspect of it, like understanding why do some people buy and some don't. Okay, a bunch more comments popped up. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Um, oh, okay. So apparently, my older videos is what brought her here. Profound and interesting. Well, thank you. Someone just responding because I was reading a long comment before, and she was explaining why she leaves long comments. Need to go. Okay, not a problem. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Muchas gracias. She left a comment in Spanish. That's why I was responding in Spanish. May you ask a private question? Of course you may. If it involves me, I'm 100% going to answer it. If it involves my wife, out of respect for her privacy, I won't answer it. But let's see. When will you see your wife again? Unfortunately, I'm not able to answer that question because I do not know. The answer that I can give you is hopefully as soon as possible, but we have no idea. It could be weeks before, the process is approved and she can come here. It could be months. Hopefully not years, but that's the thing. We don't know when it comes to immigration. It's very difficult. It varies. It's long. It's complicated. You have no control over anything. So yeah, not really a private question. It's just a question that unfortunately I cannot answer simply because I do not know. Someone sold BMWs and hated sales. Yeah, I've never done like in-person sales. It's always been online and usually like higher ticket stuff. But I mean, cars. That's the thing. I used to think that cars, like, yes, they are high ticket items, but I know someone who, works at a dealership and sells cars, and I was surprised how little they make for every sale. Because let's say you sell like a $20,000 car, I was thinking like, oh, you make like 1,000, 2,000 maybe per sale. I don't know. But it's like, no, they only make a couple $100. So that's what surprised me. For like such a big ticket item, you make such a small commission. That's why I preferred online sales because a lot of the time it's digital services, so they can afford to give you a bigger percentage, a bigger cut of every sale that you make. My pleasure. It's always nice to chat and connect, and I'm glad I'm able to do this so that I can answer questions because lately I haven't been able to do that on the individual videos. So it's definitely nice to be able to do this and connect with everyone. Oh, I drink a ton of water. Dehydration is definitely not an issue. Plus, I eat a lot of fruit, especially in the morning. And lately, because it is the season, I've been eating a lot of watermelons. So getting enough fluids is definitely not the issue at the moment. Well, thank you. I also hope I get better. Yeah, true. There was very little coughing. Yeah, that's the thing. When it comes to sales, it really varies on what you're selling, on the market you're in, if it's in-person sale, if it's digital, if it's online, it varies a lot. For me, I always preferred high-ticket digital items, such as, courses or services or things like that, because in general, you get a higher commission. So let's say I sell like something, I don't know, let's say a $300 marketing package per month. It's a 12-month contract. That's why did I do that? My brain is gonna hurt trying to do the math, even though it's super simple. $3,600. So let's say I make, I don't know, 30% on that. It's like, oh, okay, like I made a decent amount of money. Like there have been sales where I made like eight, $900 from one single sale. Of course, there's been days and weeks where you just call people and call and call and call and no one's interested and people just hang up in your face and it's very frustrating and you're like, am I just a bad salesperson? Like, why am I even doing this? And you just question your whole life. So it is very intense, but it can be very lucrative too if you're in the right position and at the right company. Although I don't know if I'll go back once this is all over. I don't know. It's more like if I have to work, I prefer doing something that I enjoy. So it's like if I'm able to build up the channel to the point where I can actually make a living from it, that'd be cool. For now, it's just like supplementary income, which I appreciate, which is definitely helpful given my limited budget, but it's not enough for me to live off of. So if I'm able to do that as a living, that would be perfect because it allows me to continue living the life I want to live without the pressures of a normal job. So that's kind of one of the options or potential options for the future, but we'll see. Definitely not my main focus at the moment. Um, yep, yeah, true. Most sales positions are based on targets. There's a lot of targets you need to hit, and that's why there's a lot of turnover because a lot of people just give up. Some people aren't able to hit the targets and end up getting fired as a result of that. So it is a very competitive, very stressful job. Yep, I do everything on my cell phone. Literally, the only two things that I have to record is my cell phone and a gimbal with just like a legs that open up, so a tripod. So it literally cost me, I think around like $35 to buy the gimbal. So it cost me $35 to start my YouTube channel. Well, to be fair, it did break when I was traveling and I had to buy another one. So let's say $7. Still pretty decent considering how a lot of YouTubers spend a lot of money on, fancy cameras and lighting and sound equipment and everything. And I'm just like, I've been there, I've done that, I had all that equipment, and it's just it's too much work. And honestly, it's not worth it, especially not for the type of channel I have where it's just storytelling, me sharing the story, just like turn on the camera, speak, and when it's done, upload. It's much simpler that way. Yep. Another comment about sales. All right, so it seems like we've reached the end. There doesn't really seem to be many more questions, just a few comments coming in. So I just want to thank everyone for attending. This was very last minute, so I wasn't quite sure what to expect, how many people would be able to show up, especially considering it's a weekday. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you once again for, just watching, participating. I appreciate everything about you. And if you watch the replay of this, feel free to leave comments. Unlike the other videos, I'm going to make sure to come back in a few days and look at the comments and respond that way. If you weren't able, like if you're in an area of the world where you weren't able to attend live and you do have a question you want me to answer, I'll be able to answer it. So when it comes to lives, feel free to post your questions on that. And I'll come back probably 2, 3 days after the live is done and look at all the comments and answer any questions that were asked, like not during live. So that way everyone will be able to be covered and I'm able to answer questions even for people who are, 12-hour difference who for them it's the middle of the night and there's something like that. So all right, let's see a bunch of thank yous. So you're welcome. Thank you to you. And I'm going to speak to you tomorrow, although I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. And now I need to remember how to end the live. Let's see. Nope. There we go.